I'm Pamela Portnoy, and no one's okay. Welcome back to No One's Okay. I am back. I am here today. Oh, where are we looking? We're looking there. We're looking here. I don't know. Hello. Hi, Cor. We're here today with an actor, a writer, a producer, a director, a two-time TEDx speaker, and a comedy coach.
Hello.
His name is Corey Martin Craig. His credits include Superstore, 911, Grey's Anatomy, and Shameless.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Do you love my non-perfect introduction?
That's one thing that's perfect about you is you're non-perfect, so that's okay.
Oh, that's the one thing I'm really perfect at.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Nobody's perfect. You're you. We're chilling.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Corey, tell our audience about your journey. Share as much or as little as you want.
The journey?
The whole shebang.
So, can I cuss? No.
Of course.
Okay, you pause. My journey to where I am today, basically, like two words that kind of describe myself is heartfelt and hilarious, is like every project that I kind of attach myself to, and that goes back to me in my childhood in Lincoln, Nebraska, where I was a little shit ass and a troublemaker. My pops died when I was 6, and I got into my fair share of trouble, and I was diagnosed with ADHD, Tourette's, and OCD. I think those were just labels to try and define why I was getting into trouble. And then in 8th grade, after being given medication to make me settle down, I was fat, and I was like, I need something, and I found acting class at Robin Mickle Middle School in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I had the opportunity to be in a play, and I was like, this is the greatest. And I was always the first one there, last one to leave, and I had to have it. And then sophomore year at Lincoln Northeast High School, I found out that the arts was going to lose funding, so I wasn't going to have any further development in acting class. And I was like, this is some bullshit. Like, this is changing my life, so come on, like, stay with me. And so I was in an English class, and Miss Abrahams was the teacher, and we were going around, and it was the popcorn reading, and like I was fat and obnoxious, and everybody made fun of me because I was I always had, I wasn't gonna let anybody see my pain, so I was just out there, and so they always throw the popcorn to me. So it was just like, you would read something, throw it to me, and I'd read something, I'd throw it to somebody else, and it'd come back to me like, I don't want this popcorn, even though I would eat it, and and we read about the Fame School in New York, and like Jennifer Aniston, and I was like, this, and I raised my hand, I was like, this is a real school? And they're like, yeah. And I don't even think the class ended, and I just left, and I went to the library, and I just skipped the rest of the day, and I just Googled, and I was like, there are schools like these? There's like 500 magnet schools, and it was just mind-blowing to me, because Lincoln, Nebraska, like, there is no possibility. Like, there's just this glass ceiling in the Midwest that you can't do anything. Do you want to go be a farmer? Do you want to work at Goodyear, tire plant? And I had a special ed teacher at the time, because with everything going on, I was gifted, but I was still behaviorally special needs challenged, and I had my teacher help me apply to the LA County High School for the Arts. It was the only one I applied to, and every day I was like, I'm gonna get my life together. I started eating healthy, and maybe not so. I went about like making myself look okay, because I was like, I'm gonna change my life. I was walking home one day from school, went to the mailbox like I normally did, grabbed the mail, and I saw LA County High School for the Arts letter, and I opened it like ever so gently. I was like, this is going to be the greatest day of my life. And it was 11th grade math placement, and I knew I was accepted, so I went and I put it on my front door, and I walked to the edge of the corner where I could see my current high school, and I flipped it off, and I was like, this is my chance. My mom and I, like, we basically sold pretty much everything that we owned, lived in a hotel for a while I went to the school, and it just changed my life, led me to opportunities at Warner Brothers, met a lot of people, and I'm just one of those people that I just feel like my mouth allows me to talk to people. I can talk to whoever. So just a lot of opportunities, found myself through acting. I, have a stand-up comedy school with Cool Beans Comedy, which is just me saying yes to the universe and having these opportunities come together. And that's kind of where I am,
Amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about what feeling you got when you were in your drama class? Like, what was it about it that
I
you loved so much?
I was made fun of all the time. I hated myself. I was overweight. I just wanted my family to like me. They didn't. I wanted teachers to like me. They didn't. I wanted kids to like me. Nobody did. And so it was the opportunity where this is the story of my very first day in Mr. Hoffert's 8th grade middle school theater class. Everybody was chilling, and he's like, "Well, we're gonna start off with an improv. Does anybody know what that is?" And nobody knew what that was. So he explained it to us that you just make up a scene. So he's like, "Can I have 4 volunteers?" And I raised my hand first, and then he chose 3 other kids. We went to the front, and he goes, "Okay, guys, we're gonna do an improv. You guys are in battle, and whatever you want to do, go." And I thought I wanted to be the sergeant. So when he said go, I went, "All right, motherfuckers, let's go kick some ass." Like just all that. And then the 3 other people just stared at me like, "What are you doing?"
It's called improv.
And I just knew at that moment that I wasn't supposed to cuss. And I just got so excited that I went over and grabbed my backpack because I knew I was in trouble. And I started leaving. Mr. Hoffer goes, "Hey, where you going?" And I was like, "To the principal, dumbass. I know how this works."
Was that the answer? You
Yeah.
double down
I
on the
doubled down.
cursing?
And he goes, "Look, man, we don't get a cuss here. So we're gonna have to knock that out, but we do get to be other people." And I was like, "Oh my gosh," because I don't know if I said this too, but I was suspended over 30 times between middle school and high school. So I knew what suspension was. I knew what in-school suspension was. I knew what getting kicked out of a class was. So I just accepted that was my fate. And that day, I was known as somebody else. I was known as a kid who wasn't the sum of every hole that I dug, behaviorally speaking. I wasn't the fat kid. I wasn't the kid without a dad. I wasn't anything other than just who I wanted to be. And it just changed my life because I got to take all of that pain and all of that was just on my shoulders and become somebody else. And it meant everything to me. And I remember the play. I remember just feeling that I was more than myself. And so many kids have that right now. We don't know how to communicate because of the pandemic. And right there in that class, I wasn't anything other than just an actor, just an improvisational actor, just whoever we wanted to make it up. And that meant everything to me because I needed that outlet. It spoke to me. It made me feel good, and it changed the trajectory of my life because I probably would not be in LA had I not had Mr. Hoffert going, hey, don't cuss, but you can be here and you can be whoever you want to be. And I was like, oh my God, all you had to do was tell me you could be whoever you wanted to be. And
That's very powerful.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love that guy.
I love that. Was he one of the only teachers you remember? Or you have kind of an impeccable memory, so you remember probably
There are some teachers who changed my life. Mr. Hoffert was amazing for me in changing my life in regards to acting. I had a Spanish teacher when I would get in trouble, Senora Smith, who when she would kick me out of class, I'd have to go in for lunch. And like she was like my only friend. Kids would make fun of me, and she just cared about me. And still to this day, I had an audition last year where I had to speak Spanish, and I hit her up and had her coach me on it. I had a special ed principal, Miss Lanning, who I still text to this day, and she, even got on the phone with me during the pandemic when I was kind of having a rough time, and she just checked in with me. So I think throughout my life, I've been lucky enough to have some people that impacted me in a way that I felt as though I don't really have too many family members that I can trust or, count on. And these people became that. And so what that's taught me is that you can staple, you can edit, you can cut, you can make your own branches on your family tree. Because at the end of the day, you are, who you want to be with,
you
and
choose to be.
Yeah, and who you want to be
with.
inspired by. And I feel like the best people or leaders, however you want to do that, are the ones who humble themselves enough to be like, hey, I don't have the answer, or I need something, and then you just listen. And that's what I've really learned from some of the best, is like the ones who are the ones we look up to the most are the ones that want to listen first, 2 ears, one mouth.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Sure.
Sure.
So
as I mentioned in your intro, you have your hands in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Acting, producing, writing, comedy, teaching, coaching, speaking, all the things. Can I have your recipe for time management?
Sure.
Thanks. I literally, when I was writing down my questions for you, I was like, what do I want to know about Corey? And I've known this guy since we were 17, 18 years old.
Sure.
So I know quite a bit,
Yeah.
but I'm like, okay, I want your recipe for time management.
So it's my double-edged sword. What I mean by that is my drive is how hard I work. At the end of the day, that's the double-edged sword where sometimes I've, not made time for friends or enjoying life, or so that is something that I have to work on, because that's my outlet, is to always be doing something. For me, I really kind of block schedule it. If there's something I'm really enjoying and I'm kind of in that flow state, well, then everything else kind of goes out the window. I remember hearing this story. I believe it was Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, and they were trying to set up a time to play a game of chess.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Gates was like, "Hey, let's make this happen." And he's pulling out his phone, and he's like, "Hey, why don't we do Tuesday at 12?" And Buffett's like, "Sure." And he's like, "Oh crap, no. How about Thursday at 3?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, that's cool." And he's like, "You know what? I want to have some more time with this, so no, I can't do this." And so they kept doing this, and then every single time Bill asked Warren, he's like, "I'm good." Bill's like, "How are you always available?" And he's like, "I just only do what I want and choose to do." And so for me, that's kind of the way I run my life. Like when I have specific appointments or meetings, of course, but every day is new to me, and so I just do what I feel best in, and I feel like everything kind of helps everything else out, like if I know I have a deadline. And also too, what helps me is saying no. Like I had a writing deadline that was supposed to be tomorrow, and I was like, let's push that, because I had
Writing
a different
deadline that you had to meet for another person or for yourself?
For myself, but
Okay.
it was
Which is not any less important.
for sure, but it was with it was supposed to be for somebody else, so it was a combination. What I'm saying is that could wait, because I'm also writing another project that took precedence. So I just think for me, it's just prioritizing and then seeing what makes you happy. Because
Mhm.
if the one spot is not giving you what you need, put it on the back burner. Maybe the two will then light the fire to feel good, and then we can go to the one. But for me, I think the biggest thing is just, as much as I can, be around good people. My battery charges by being around other people. So if I want to go write, I'm going to go write with somebody else. If I'm going to be at my Cool Beans comedy classes, like I want to be with people. So that's really where I thrive. So if I can do that, then that's where I feel good. So putting yourself in a position that brings out your ambitions, then that's powerful for me. But also choosing what I know, needs to go. And like I'm also, doing my own projects, so like that's exciting for me. Like I know in July I have something really, really big that we're leading up to, so I probably need to put that towards the top. But every single day, I don't really like to put pressure on myself.
Yeah. And you enjoy what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's like pulling teeth to get anything done. But what I am curious about is how you avoid burnout.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think that
And what does that look like? Do you get, I'm sure you do. You don't. Ever? Never.
I don't get burnt out.
What the fuck?
I used to get mad. Some people have told me that I have anger issues because of my drive. It's my double-edged sword. And that's
tell. I want to
probably,
hear more about that. But
well, it's just, I just get mad, like in the sense of, why isn't it happening yet? Why? I know this is great.
oh yeah, impatient for sure.
Me?
You? Yeah.
Son of a gun. Yeah, no, the impatience is something that I want everything yesterday. So I've really had to try to chill and find those things that, just like acting did for me, professionally speaking, basketball is that for me. I mean, I had COVID, 2, 3 weeks ago, and I watched every single NBA playoff game. I was just like,
Oh, I
yeah, let me
didn't.
see this. I love every second of it. My mom loves sports too, and like that's what we kind of bonded over. And so, I've watched so many games with her recently, and that allows me to chill, because I can easily be checking emails and doing things while Steph Curry is splashing a three, like that's fun for me. And again, going back to like what makes me happy, the fluidity of like playing basketball, specifically the Warriors, and just how much fun they have together. Like that's so fun for me. And like I was in a basketball league that we started up last night, and we got destroyed.
You
But it was our
started
first
it
game.
last night?
Yeah, it was our first game.
Wow,
We
cool.
we missed our first preseason game because the other team forfeited, and I was like so depressed. But we played last night, and I was even more depressed because we got destroyed. But maybe that'll put us in a lower bracket of the league, so we can maybe win the game.
That's really interesting because I going back, because I took you on several tangents, but I was thinking about what you said regarding to how you don't get burnt out and how you get energy from other people. I do notice, do you think that's the same thing or just slightly different than when I'm on like the productive flow, it's hard for me to stop. But once I stop, it's hard for me to get going again.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I do get tired around other people and need to recharge alone.
Yeah.
And so once I'm recharging alone, getting back to the flow state and the productivity is the toughest thing for me.
So it's so funny you bring that up because you and I are opposites with that
Yeah.
because I'm an only child,
Mhm.
right, just like you. But I always thought, because I was an only child, I was like, oh, I thought everybody's batteries charged by being around other people. But I have my two little nephews, Isaiah and Liam, and they are polar opposites. Isaiah is just like me, has to be like right up on you when I go and visit them. That's who I visited when I got COVID. Isaiah has to be on you, like doing something and like playing with you and playing his game. Liam can be in the other room just chilling by himself. And like my cousin this morning just sent me a video of them, and they were at Isaiah's graduation, and Liam was like just bawling because he didn't want to be around that many people. And so it's just interesting to see how different people. So I think for everybody, it's finding out what is best for you, knowing what excites you. But if you know that you need that, making sure that you go there. The other thing that I say is in this, and I'll come back to your question, is like with stand-up comedy, when I'm teaching people about that, you know, we have two sides of our brains, right? We got the creative and we have the critical. And so if you are having any amount of the critical brain on the day you're supposed to be being creative, you're going to stunt everything because you're going to be like, ooh, no, that's trash. Right? And so just making sure that you're like, no, getting out of that.
I'm so guilty of that.
Exactly. And you cannot do that because the critical will always win. That is the voice of all those teachers telling me I was trash or anything, like just it's all of those thoughts. And so creatively speaking, you just have to make sure that you're in a flow state. And for me, literally, it'll be like going to bounce a basketball or going to shoot if I have to do that, or just doing something with my hands because I know I'm such like a goofball and that gets me in that energetic state. So even if it's you meditating, I know people don't really like to do that. We always say like, let's go meditate. Nobody does it.
Boring.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
I really want to be that type of person. Sometimes if I'm desperate, I try, but like I just get annoyed.
Yeah, I got the Calm app. I paid for a year. I lasted a week. You know what I mean? It's like there's no point. But that's exactly what I think you should do is like know that about yourself, you know, like even when I'm learning lines, I'll make sure that I'm walking or like throwing a ball up and down. So that way I'm in that creative state. You know, they talk about.
And it also cements better.
Yes. And that's the same thing for getting to your flow is if you have any, you know, if there's a deadline or if you're like, I'm not really feeling good about this because I know you. And, yeah, right?
Oh, that's what I sound like.
That's what you sound like. Because if we get in our heads, that's where everything shuts down. And so I think just finding that fun for you, and if you're still going, let it ride, get that big chunk out, because then that'll make you happy when you go back to it again, knowing how much you put into it. And I think for you or anybody that's like you is like getting those moments where that massive amount of time has been productive and put together, then give yourself that time to regenerate, because then maybe you hit it harder than me because I'm just like slow and consistent, and you're like, no, I got these 2 hours, and you just crack out everything, and then you come back the next day for another 2. Everybody's different. So just at the end of the day, my biggest thing is giving yourself permission. I've coached a lot of kids over the pandemic for like acting auditions, and my biggest thing, and I told you this, is nobody can beat you at being your best you. So if you give yourself that power to say, ain't nobody gonna fuck with Pam Portnoy, I'm gonna just be me. Nobody can physically be better than Pam Portnoy at being Pam Portnoy.
100%.
So if we just give ourselves that permission, to have that flow or to have that fun. You know what I mean? There's a lot of writers with their muse who will say, say some type of prayer or mantra that gets them in this flow of being like, it's not me, it's my muse taking over the keyboard or taking
Mhm.
over, whatever I'm writing.
Their alter ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm good with that. Like going back to my Mr. Hoffer at middle school, like that wasn't me. That was just me being and having the fun of somebody else. And I think we all have that possibility and opportunity within us.
I love that. And I think this question is kind of along those lines, but a little bit different. What do you say to someone that's struggling with their confidence?
Absolutely. I think that we have to laugh at ourselves. Like I when I would do motivational speeches across like the country, I would always make sure that I would grab like a volunteer. I'd be like, "Come up here with me," and I'd look at them and be like, "Okay, this is gonna be silly, but you gotta like mirror me." And
Mhm.
so I would say, like, "What's your name?" I'll use you as an example. Like, "What's your name?"
Pamela.
Great, Pam. Okay, this is gonna be like us. Like we're gonna be like improving this and like just like just going with it, but like okay, like we just got out the shower, okay, and like we're just like looking in the mirror and we're like and so like we look in the mirror and we're like, hey, what's up, Pamela? And like I make you like raise your eyebrows and do all that stuff and like what's
Uh-huh.
up, good looking, and then you do like like this and that, like who's gonna have a motherfucking good day, and like I like to cuss, like that makes me feel good, but
Me too.
I think I think confidence comes from small steps. So going back to stand-up comedy, the first joke out your mouth should be something that cuts the tension, but also gives you a little confidence to then build up on these jokes because you have to be in that thing. So for you, if you like know that you're good at drawing stick figures, kicking soccer balls, whatever that is, like just doing that and knowing, hey, I crushed that. That's like a little step in the right direction of where you wanted to go. Like so doing that and then multiplying that into something else that kind of like builds that. But also too, doing things that scare the shit out of you. Like
Mhm.
doing things that scare you each and every day. I think for me, because a lot of stuff was taken away from me and a lot of like growing up and just life, you can't take anything away from me. So I'm always going to go to that place where I make fun of myself. You can't take yourself too seriously in this life. So confidence building just comes from literally going, nobody's gonna be better than me. I don't give a fuck what happens. Let's just have some fun and let's just make sure that we're living life to the fullest. Like, and to me, I know that sounds so simple, but little tiny things like walking up, if you like somebody or just like even on the street, if you're like, that person's beautiful, just walking up and be like, excuse me, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but you're beautiful. I used to do that like that. Like when I was like super nervous around girls, I'd be like, excuse me, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but you're beautiful. And I would just walk
And I'd be
away.
like, "What? What'd you say?
What's
Who are
happening?
you?"
All the time, but like just simple little things or just going out of your way to make somebody else's day. If you give it out, like you're gonna receive it. So anything simple is like hey, that's a cool sweater, just something stupid. I know it's so stupid, but
It's not stupid.
confidence comes from yourself, but I also think it comes from others. You want to hear that somebody else is like, yo, you're good at what you do,
Mhm.
because then you're like, okay, I'm feeling myself. So
But
I
you won't get that if you don't put yourself out there.
yeah, I mean, closed mouth don't get fed. So you gotta at least, sorry about that, you gotta at least ask, you gotta at least try, you gotta at least put it out there. And I'm a big believer too of name it to tame it. If there's something on your mind of something that's scaring you, or like for me, I hated being called weird when I was in school, and
I
so
didn't know
I
that.
hated being called weird
Why didn't you like
because it
it?
was another label. I was like, I've already got ADHD, Tourette's, OCD. I'm already like the fat kid. I'm already the kid that I'm a bastard. Like I'm all these things. So I just hated the word weird. I was like, don't call me that. I'm Corey. So like to take ownership of that is like I would just be like, I'm Corey and I'm weird. Just to kind of like take that back or any type of thing. So if there's something that's scaring you, for instance, like again, I use stand-up comedy a lot because I feel like that's the best confidence builder ever. If you
Yeah.
go on stage and you're nervous with the audience, just say it, right? Just say, oh boy, you guys are scaring me. Or just like, if you're on a date or something and you're just like, wow, your eyes are intimidating me. Like, I just like, I really love humor. And
It's a great equalizer.
mhm,
It puts kind of everyone on the same level. And I feel like anyone can relate to, someone laughing at themselves.
mhm,
Um, yeah, I think that's wonderful. And to our audience, I know you guys probably saw or listened to the episode on fear where Alexa and I went skydiving. Well, I'm going to do another episode on fear because guess what? I'm taking Corey's stand-up class
Yeah, you
and
are.
we are putting up a show in a few weeks. And
Yeah.
so I will be definitely talking about how that goes. Please pray for me. I'm going to drag him back here if he doesn't hate me by the end of this episode, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what's great. I mean, I think, too, like, if you have friends that know something about you, like, put it out there. Like, I you know, with your skydiving, you know, just challenging each other. And, like, I basically looked at you in the face because we went to the Chappelle show at the Hollywood Bowl, not the one where
Not the crazy one.
But I was just like, you need to take this because I think, you know, we talked about some acting, and I just think sometimes we get in our own way, and I'm like, I know that stand-up comedy is the best confidence builder. You know, the number one fear is public speaking. You take that and amplify it with having to tell jokes and get some laughs on it.
100%.
It's crazy. But for me, I love like hosting and doing comedy like that because you got to put yourself out there. Every single time I go out there and like host, it's like standing on the edge of a 45-foot high rise with my feet out on the edge because it's like you don't know where it's going to go, but I at least have to trust. I at least have to give myself that opportunity. And for
You're not going to die.
No, you're not either. You're not either when you go and tell some jokes.
Well, here's the thing. I chose...
June 11th, coolbeanscomedy.com. What's that?
I'll make sure to release this episode after that. No. I chose to jump out of a plane rather than do an open mic night. Those were our two options. And we're like, the girl that has problems at the Universal Studios escalators going down is going to jump out of a plane.
Yeah. But even...
This is way scarier for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's and I think I don't know why. I think it might be because I choose to, you know, act, and I'm more comfortable being on stage being someone else.
If I may, you like to control things.
Whoa! Let's get real. Give me some examples.
You like to control things.
I do?
Yeah.
Tell me.
You like to plan things out, make sure they go accordingly. You like to make sure everything's neat and proper,
wow,
and make sure that
you've made me real nervous.
Look at there.
Holy shit!
You're playing with your necklace.
That doesn't sound great.
That's not a bad thing though.
Being a control freak is kind of a bad thing.
Okay, you like to control things. I didn't say you're a control freak. Like some people do though. Like some people like to have things in order and everything else like that. And I think that's a beautiful thing. That means people are prepared. That means people took the time to make sure everything's there. But then you gotta let that shit go so that way you can just be in the moment.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
I have to do that too.
When do you struggle with that?
When I want things to happen right away and my impatience is like, what in the hell?
Well, yeah. Okay, you know what? You're allowed to call me control because I called you impatient earlier.
That's
so
fair.
we're fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
I didn't
good.
say control freak. I said you like to control things.
Okay. You don't like to be patient.
Not at all.
No. But that's normal, and I think that's also you've always been like that, but I think it's a result of the last couple of years where everything has been like at a stalemate and like really not. Even though I would disagree with you.
My whole life has been impatience.
You've been moving the last couple of years too.
Yeah. Trying to make things happen. Like during the pandemic, a few cool things presented itself, and so just working hard and trying to do that. But my impatience comes from, you know, my childhood and like wanting to prove something to myself because there's no other option.
Why do you think they diagnosed you with Tourette's? Was it because you curse so much?
No, I think when I was in 6th grade, I told the teachers like there was something in my eye, and I think they said that there was like ticks or something. I think they tried to like make it ticks, but me personally, I don't have any of those things. Sure, whatever, I'm hyper and sure, whatever, but I don't touch the glass. All I'm saying is like those things that they say about me personally, the drug industry is a how many multi-trillion-dollar industry,
Yep.
And so for me, if you need to take medication, if you need to be diagnosed with something, sure. But I love to look at an individual as an individual without any label. I hate labels. I just hate them. I hate them. Like, why can't we just look at somebody and go, you're you, you know? Unless it benefits you, that you can become part of a supportive community, that's a beautiful thing. But for me, it absolutely made me hate myself. Doctors, teachers, parents, like just everybody. Yeah.
Which is kind of, it makes a lot of sense because you teach stand-up and you teach comedy. You're kind of teaching people to lean into those labels and kind of flip them on their head and make them their own.
Name it to tame it. take that ownership back. Because a
Yeah.
lot of us feel that we're unworthy because some of these things. A lot of us feel that those define us. They don't. They do not. Rise up. Like when I go and talk to the kids, I loved going to talk and give motivational speeches, but what I love more than just the general population was when I got to go to the special ed rooms because those kids are the ones that's counted out. And I'd always tell them, be the rubber band. And what I mean by that is those kids have been pulled back. But if they give themselves the opportunity to let go of that, they're going to soar past everyone else because everyone else is just chilling. They're going to be like, bye, motherfuckers. Like on their way. It's just however you want to look at it. It's perspective. But it's also that hard work, right? Hard
Mhm.
work beats talent if talent doesn't want to work hard, you know? So give yourself that chance. You have been given a gift. Like it's Eminem. Like a fuck you for Christmas. This gift is a curse, right? It's just that idea of making sure that you give yourself that permission. But a lot of those kids that get pulled back, they think that they are that person. A beautiful book that kind of changed my life was Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck. Have you
Oh,
heard of
I
that?
have it at home. I haven't read it yet, though.
Really?
Yeah.
It's as simple as this. There's growth mindset and there's fixed mindset. I can't do this or I can't do that yet. And she has years upon years of studies about kids, I think all the way from kindergarten to graduation, of athletes, of musicians, and just having that growth mindset. So you don't encourage the individual, you encourage their hard work. And that's really what I try to do too with all the little kids that I work with and everything else like that. I don't say good on you. I say good on your hard work because that's where we really need to cement that because that allows for us to think, oh, I'm really good at this just because. No.
We're constantly evolving.
Yes, but somebody else is going to work harder than you.
Yeah.
So you got to keep putting that out there. Or the negative of it is like, oh, I can't do math.
Mhm.
But that's just a thought. Like I hate glass ceilings.
That's another label.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why that book is beautiful. She's an incredible, you know, writer and just her studies and just everything. Yeah.
I'm going to raise it on my priorities list.
It's a so simple read. You could
Uh,
I'll give you the Audible. It'll take
I
you like
have it
3
at
hours.
home. I swear to you, I can picture the book. Like I have it.
What color?
It's white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice test you threw
Good
at
deal.
me.
Good deal.
Very good. What's the driving force that you have? Like what you were talking a lot about your drive. Like what's the mission? What are you trying to leave behind? What's your legacy? What's your goal?
I want people to know that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Because a kid from Lincoln, Nebraska, where I grew up in the cuts, like Lincoln is like the Great Gatsby. South side is the rich side, north side is the poor side. And I grew up in the poor side. Like, you know, a lot of the kids I went to school with, like some have drug problems, some are in schizophrenic homes. Like it's just I shouldn't be where I am today. And my driving force is that I hate labels and you can be whatever it is that you want and in spite of you know, use that for your power because sometimes it literally just takes somebody to go, I believe in you. I believe in your talent. You can do anything. Just that. We're too, especially in the Midwest, we're too macho. No, we don't talk about feelings. We don't talk about what? No, football. Like that. You don't really get the opportunity to say it's okay. What do you want to do? Great. Go be the best fucking person of that. Go do that. And along your way, try to inspire somebody. Because that's going to come back too. So my legacy, again, like with any project I try to attach myself to or any project I create, it's heartfelt and hilarious because I always want to laugh. But I think first and foremost, it's that heart. Connect to somebody. I wanted to connect to some people so bad. When I was diagnosed with all those things, I got locked up one time in a like a youth medical
Detention center.
Yeah, youth detention center. Like, but it was like in the hospital. Like it was bad, you know. And you know, they took my shoelaces away from me. Like it was just protocol, but it was just like I remember just feeling awful. I was like, you guys don't care about me. Like I just was having like a behavioral problem, and I just wanted anybody to care about me. And I think sometimes some individuals don't have that, you know, foster system, so many people. And I just want that opportunity for others.
I think that's wonderful. And I think you're doing it.
I hope so.
I think you are.
There's a piece of me, just honesty is like, there's a piece of me that wants to get to that level where I can call people and be like, I did that, or there's a show creator, my name, or something like that. Just I love my family, some of them. But like I remember being on Grey's Anatomy, and like it was my first big thing, and I was so stoked. One of my aunts like saw like, I don't know, 2 or 3 of my scenes, just like, is that it? And I was just, and I don't mean
Whew.
anything by that, but
But they don't know how hard it is to get like even one line, and you had,
yeah. But I just, there, you ask my drive. Every little kid wants their dad's approval. I'm never gonna get that. So like that's my drive. And at the end of the day, like I don't even really like my dad, And so it's such this weird double-edged sword. Again, I keep talking about that, but I'm trying to use it for the positive. And for me, I want to be the example of honesty, of vulnerability, and telling people you can do whatever it is that you want. And the pandemic should have taught us that. If you don't like a job, if you don't like a relationship, if you don't like anything about your life, we can change it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. I'm gonna take a sip.
Please do.
Thank you. Why am I making mouth sounds?
No, I was just saying please do, because you needed some water.
I need some water, you guys.
Okay. Good deal.
Great.
You're very defensive too. What's that?
Defensive. Why don't you take a sip?
Do I?
Oh my God.
I was only allotted one glass. Anyhow,
go
ahead.
Do you want another one?
I'm good.
So a lot of people believe that you can't give 100% to more than one thing. I know you do not believe that. Like, I know people are of the mindset, oh, if you're doing really well at work, it means you're not doing well at home. If you're not putting 100% into writing, I mean, sure, you're acting, you can't do it in your writing. Like, what would you say to those people?
Stop defining things with labels, you fucks. No, I actually had this conversation last night at Writers Group. Talking about showrunners, and the shows that have the showrunners that have families, they want to get home by like 5 or 6 so they can enjoy that. And those shows are beautiful because they know we got to get everything done. Let's make sure everything is this beautiful, cohesive family to get things done so we can go home to our families. And then there are the showrunners who are single that'll make sure that scripts come in at 3, 4 in the morning because just, I'm not saying there's a direct correlation, but at the end of the day, one can inspire the other. Art mirrors life. So if you want to tell these stories that can inspire people or inspire maybe your kids or maybe something your kid's going through that way can inspire others, that's going to motivate you to get home. And those kids and your family is going to motivate you to tell those stories that just happened. What did your kid do? Can we put that in the script, or can we put that in the show? So I hear the idea of give everything you got, but life really is career and home life. So if you can make both beautiful, sure. But I mean, I don't really want to put it into percentages. I want to live both. Like I want to hit 100% when I'm here and 100% when I'm there. If you're present, then do it. And just make sure that you have those outs. Like if your kid got a basketball game at 5:30, you got to be on the road by 5. You got to know that you maybe got to get there to work a little early to get it in, but you got to leave at 5 because those moments are precious. And that's going to, again, be this cohesive unit of fluidity of life.
Hell yeah. Corey, I have a section on the show called Silly Questions to Take Super Seriously.
Great.
Question 1. Bloop.
Yeah.
You need to set it back.
Okay. Bloop.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What makes you laugh the most?
What makes me laugh the most would be fart jokes. I don't know.
Yeah. Tell us a good fart joke. Do you have one off the top of your head?
No, I just like fart sounds. I don't know. Just like being with my little nephews. Like when I was in Kansas City a few weeks back, I think one of us tooted or I tooted. I was like, "What's that duck sound?" And they're like, "What duck?" And
you
then,
do that all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. Did you have a whoopee cushion growing up?
I did.
You did?
I remember one time at a birthday party, we went to the local game place, and then we had like an overnight sleepover, and we got so many whoopee cushions, and one kid jumped off like the playground and onto his and popped it, and he started crying. I still remember it.
Like popped, like broke.
Yeah, I mean he jumped off like the playground set, what is that, like a story down, and just popped it, and he's like my whoopee cushion. And it's like, well, what'd you think was gonna happen? But yeah, fart sounds are amazing. I mean, I have a car that can make a fart sound, and like that's amazing. Like you can put the fart anywhere.
Oh yeah, like anywhere
in the turn signal. Can like, and That's amazing to me. There's something so beautiful about gas.
Excellent. I love that so much. So before I ask you the important question of the show, where can our listeners follow you?
Corey Martin Craig and Cool Beans Comedy. That's my two entities.
Do you have anything going on that you want them to know about?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I'm going to be directing a comedy series special July 23rd in Pasadena at the Boston Court Theater. So I'm super excited for that. I'll probably give updates there about free tickets for that, but it's going to be a really exclusive opportunity. I've directed stand-up comedy specials for others, as well as one that I'm pitching around town now, and this one's going to be super special. It's going to be everything that we talked about with the heartfelt and hilarious. And if you want to come check that out, or if you ever want to come audit a class or see Pamela Portnoy do stand-up comedy, definitely follow me. June 11th, coolbeanscomedy.com. What's that?
Great. Thank you, Corey, for saying that. I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for the important question?
So ready.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
No.
Am I okay? I'm good. Life is beautiful.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit.
I mean, it's just taking each and every day for what it is. I think it's been an interesting pandemic, Went through a breakup recently, had COVID recently, and
just get it all out of the way. That means the rest of the year is going to be so much better.
Oh, yeah. I told myself, let's get done with April. And May is starting to feel good, and, had a good meeting yesterday that gave me some hope, and I just feel in my heart that you gotta believe in those things, and you have to keep putting it out to the universe. So I keep telling myself that's gonna be the thing that's gonna give me my jumping off point to where I feel, in a sense, hopefully, that I made it, because that's something that I've always wanted to feel, that I've arrived, and have others see me that the way that I finally started to see myself differently. There's been a few friends in my life that have seen me as something that I've never thought, and I just want to live up to that, and I want to be somebody that can, help others on the way up, but also get to that part where I'm like, hell yeah, you know what I mean? Like I got something I'm proud of.
Excellent. Corey, thank you for joining me today.
Pamela, thank you so much for having me.
Excuse me, let's not do the impressions of me.
Sounds good. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You take care.
We're all okay.
No one is.
I'm going to flip that. No labels. We're all okay.
We're more than okay. Great. Okay is the cop-out answer.
Okay.
It's like when you say you're okay, it's like you're avoiding the actual answer. That's boilerplate, if you will.
I'm pretty good with those.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time.
June 11th.
No. Bye. Thanks. This podcast was produced by Jason Crow and me, Pamela Portnoy, with music by Jordan Ross Weinhold. You can follow the show on Instagram and Facebook at No One's Okay, and please don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. We love kind reviews. No One's Okay is also on YouTube, so if you want to see our faces, please subscribe to our channel. An extra special thank you goes out to Sean Moore, Claire Palmer, Jackson Palmer, Tiffany Haymoff, and Alexa Marie Anderson. This podcast was recorded at Soundworks Studios. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time.